personal. You are Okubane going to take it very personal.
Chop life, celebrate life, try move on to life. Thank God we are alive. It is a beautiful day to remember. We are making progress together.
Look at we now.
My guy, is a beautiful day to remember. Oh, no. We are not here forever. Yeah, celebrate me now that I am living. Not when I die, you go throw party. This life is for the living. Every day, na jolly, jolly. On your didn't do one festival.
I'm the VIP on your FYP.
Through his support, we're able to achieve what you are seeing here tonight. Put your hands together for him, please. Clap for him.
I see a mighty man of knowledge inside.
You're welcome.
You are nice.
The Africa we want, what does it entail, and how do you think we can actually achieve this with collaboration?
Okay, first of all, good evening, distinguished guests. Good evening, moderator, my fellow panelists. I think when you look at Africa as a continent and you compare it to, for instance, say Western Europe, you'd notice that what we lack here that they seem to have there is cooperation. For some reason in Africa, we tend to compete rather than cooperate, rather than collaborate. And that then breeds the issue of, trying to outdo one another, whereas the sky is big enough for everyone to thrive in. So when looking at Africa as a continent, regardless of whatever sphere it is, be it the business, politics, finance, whatever, I think cooperation and collaboration must be the key word. We must get rid of this mindset that either I can go it alone or I don't need anyone to accomplish it. I think that's the first step.
You actually use Europe, and if you've lived in Europe, you can just cross to the next country comfortably. And in Africa, we've had a lot of border issues, and it's not happening. What do you advise the government to do in this situation, especially in Africa?
Okay, if I get your question correctly in terms of border integration. Now, if you look at Europe and Africa, you'll notice that there's a very the difference is wide. And the EU, which is the European Union, it's not the first kind of country-to-country integration. We also have the African Union, there's the North American Union. But you see that in Europe, if you take it back in history, say 100 years ago, Europe used to be at war with each other. In fact, it was known as the continent of war. But somewhere along the line, they decided to get together and forge a common goal, which was prosperity and domination. Now, if you bring it back to Africa as a continent, you notice that in Africa, not only do we have different cultures, but we are also diverse in terms of religion, in terms of even mindset. Now, if you try to implement the sort of open borders they have in Europe, it would pose a serious security problem to the government. Because if you look at states in the Sahel, for instance, you notice that they have more problems with security. So that kind of border integration would be difficult at this point in time because you open yourself up to all sorts of issues.
Which, like in an easy thing, you mean it's not achievable?
No, not that it's not achievable. It's very much achievable. But a lot of work, reorientation of the mind, has to go in order to, because take the social media space for instance, you notice that Nigerians and Ghanaians were always at each other's throats. For better or for worse, there's always that rivalry. Now, if you decide to merge it together, even looking at South Africa or Ghana, the country itself, you see that there's some sort of issue between they and the Nigerians. You don't find that in, for lack of a better word, the Western world.
Sorry, Honorable Uriel, sorry to cut you short, but let me ask one more question so we get it very strategic. Now, you use Europe as an example. Fine, we have African Union in Africa as well, and integration is not as easy as it is, but integration is very important because it helps trade, it helps everything that we're talking about, which is collaboration. So now, in just simple terms, what do you feel can actually be done with all of these listed challenges and the rest of it? We know Ghanaians don't want to talk to Nigerians. We go to maybe, even within the country, we don't have to go to Ghana. Within Nigeria, an Igbo man in some cases wouldn't sign a contract that pertains to a Yoruba man. So in your own easy thing, what do you think should be done, your own word?
Okay, I think we should first look at the policies of the government. They need to make it easier for trade and business to be done, collaboration, because at the end of the day, red tape, governmental red tape, is one of the factors that hampers business integration. You go to a country where you want to start up something, there are laws, some make sense, some don't. So I think we have to tackle that. If we can tackle that the issue of government policy in terms of being able to integrate and make business much easier, they would go a long way, faster, in my opinion, faster than even attempting to do open borders.
This is Africa, and personally I've been opportune to actually have been to about 22 African countries at the moment. Okay, now I have a question for you. When we move across Africa, most times we see some deficiencies, either road infrastructure, buildings, and the rest of it. Do you think at the stage we are in Africa, we need international interventions like your? Recently, something happened, following up US aid. It was actually cut off, and there are a lot of panics, not just Nigeria, a lot of African countries are in panics. So what do you think? Do you think we still need those international aids coming to Africa, or we can do it alone?
Okay, I think one of the greatest myths that has been perpetrated to the African mind is that we need Western aid. Africa is a continent. If you take Nigeria, for instance, I don't think there's any resource that we lack. We have oil, we have gold, silver, diamond, copper, aluminium, ore, timber. We have it all. If you go through other African countries, they have the same thing. Now, if you look at the dynamics, you see there's an aspect of that US aid that is often neglected when they're talking about it. And being in politics, I would sideline that part. I won't touch that part for several reasons, but we do not need Western aid in Africa. We don't. In fact, Western aid, in my opinion, is hampering the growth and development of the African continent. Because there's a saying that necessity is the mother of all inventions. So, if you look at the resources we have in Africa, Europe should actually be coming to us. Take an example of what's happening in the whole Ukraine-Russia thing. Why is the US hell-bent on Ukraine? Because of the resources. If Ukraine didn't have those resources, I can guarantee you for a fact, America wouldn't be interested. They go where the resources are. So if you see Europe in Africa, that's because we have resources here. And one major part of the underdevelopment of Europe, of Africa, has been the greed of our leaders. Now you have a situation whereby foreigners come into Africa to mine our resources, take it back to their continent or country, and then give us peanuts and call it aid. Most times aid that they tell you what to do with the money, and you must pay back that money with interest, even though your resources were substituted for it.
Sorry to cut you short. If we can actually process our own resources, what do we do?
Who said we can process our resources? What does it take to process resources? For instance, if I have a land that has gold in it, what do I need to bring that gold out? Let's assume I don't have any money, I don't have any machines, but I have gold in that land. Every administration that leaves office in Nigeria, the next administration that comes in probes them. And more often than not, always in fact, you find out one person stole 100 million, one person stole $30 million, one person. That shows you that we have the resources in this country. For one, Nigeria, we print our money. Now, if we as the African continent do not utilize those resources, let's even assume that we didn't have any money, but we needed to have those resources brought out from the ground. It's very simple. If we reach out to a company in Western Europe for those resources, number one, we must dictate the terms and conditions under which those resources are mined. But we don't do that. We are subservient to them. It's at their will. They tell us what to do. They tell us how to do it, when to do it, and with what to do it. Look at most of the aid that comes to Nigeria. Would you believe that the money actually does not enter Nigeria? What they do is they would approve, say, $10 million, and then give the $10 million liquidity to a company in Western Europe to come and do something here. That makes no sense. So how does that benefit us as a continent?
Okay, let me not cut you short, because that conversation can take 2 hours. I need you to cut it short, but now, I'll give you 30 seconds. If this room is actually filled up with African leaders, everybody sitting here are either president of every African country, what would you tell them?
In 30 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, the first thing is they need to believe, number one, in their country.
You have to talk to them. Yes, they are.
You need to believe in your country, believe in your continent. It is only when you believe in your continent and the prosperity, the prospects, and more importantly, the human resources that reside within that country that you can then aim to change the country. If you don't believe in something, then you do not have any interest in developing that thing. Looking at what our leaders in Africa have done over time, you find out that more often than not, it doesn't benefit them or the country. Because what you think you have outside the country is not really yours. If you're an African leader and you embezzle $10 million and put it in a bank in the US, the day the American government needs money, they will look at that account. And you have no legal backing on defending the originality of that money because it's stolen funds. So rather than looking externally, look inwards at how we can begin to develop the continent, because it benefits both you and your future generations. The money is there. Let us, if you become the president of Nigeria today, you have access to the resources that reside within Nigeria. Now, look at, okay, draw up the key critical areas. There are 3 core areas of development that if you're able to tackle as the African leader, you find out that Africa overnight can become one of the leading powers in the world. And that's energy, security, and education. If you're able to tackle these 3, you find out that all of a sudden, the brilliant minds, look at the Chinese, look at what their kids are doing in kindergarten, and then look at Nigerians, what our adults are doing in the university, and you find out that an average Chinese would best a Nigerian adult 9 out of 10 times. And that's because right from childhood, their orientation is towards national development. The Chinese actually plan, they don't do 2 years, 3 years, you know, like when you go from interview and you actually work you see yourself in 3 years. The Chinese look at 10 years, 20, 50 years. That's what we should do. If we can look at that time span for Africa, we'll begin to change a lot of things. Even the way we reason, the way we think, the way we act would start to change. Because now we're looking at the long-term development. It's not about my tenure or my government. No. I will do something and pass it on to the next person that will come after me to carry on. Continuity of government is a term you find in American politics, but it lacks in Nigerian and African politics. Because once the next person comes in, they stop everything and they want to start their own. That's a waste of resources and it makes absolutely no sense.
Thank you.
Why you dey hate on your brother? Why you dey stubborn for corner? And why you want push and for gutter? Why you dey hate one another? Cause nowadays, every man for himself when the trouble come they run away. When wahala day, you supposed to stick with your brother and stick with your sister. So when I dey win, you dey win, oh. I can be the leader, you be hero. We all dey find medicine, we go cure poverty for real. I see you winning, I'm winning. We all are winning, you're winning, I'm winning. We all are winning. I'd rather congratulate you than to hate you. I see you winning, I'm winning, winning. We all are winning for life. Winning for life. I see you winning. You don't waste your time if you think say you fit for me. No matter how you try, Baba God still there for me. You dey follow they hear woto. But bad news no they win loto. Now good news be the sign for my motto. Now you know my logo. You dey follow they hear woto. But bad news no they win loto. Now good news be the sign for my motto.